Legendary actor Paul Newman once said, "If there truly is a heaven on earth, it must be VIR." For the first time in its half-century history, this truly glorious ribbon of racing real estate hosts the most prestigious event in amateur motorsports, the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs.
The 56th SCCA National Championship Runoffs continue at Virginia International Raceway with Formula Continental about to take to the track. Hello everyone, Ryan Marine and Larry McLeod about to take you through 15 laps or 40 minutes of race action here and crown a national champion in this wonderful FC class. It's a grid of 10 cars with a very fast group of drivers at the front of the field, but also, Larry, worth noting, there are some surprising names buried a bit deeper on this grid than we've come to expect.
Yeah, 10 deep here with the starting field. 4 of them come in with championships under their belt, 3 of them from different classes, including our 2018 Formula V champion, Michael Veresens. He jumped from the V after winning a slew of championships over the years. He's jumped here into the Continental ranks, had a lot of trouble mechanically this week. He's qualified no better than 6th. On the row right behind him is going to be Chuck Moran. He dominated the Hoosier Super Tour this year, taking 10 starts on the podium on all of them, 4 of those wins, and he's 7th on this field, so we could see some shake-up, some early movement between those guys.
Looking for any late developing stories down on pit lane, we've got Hayward Wagner.
Guys, some really gorgeous cars in this class, and a lot of times Formula Continental gets painted with a Spec Series brush because they use a similar tire, same engine in all these cars, but there's really quite a bit of difference in these cars. I want to take a look at our front row cars. First, Tim Miner. Tim is running a fairly conservative front wing. This is a single element. This is traditional low nose car. Our pole sitter, Rob Aller, notice on Rob's car, he's running the higher nose with the multi-element wing. Rob's car is actually a 2002. Tim's is a 2010. So Rob and his team have done a lot of work to update this older chassis. And when we talk about racing and attention to detail, take a look at right here on Rob's car. Clear seams there. Make sure the car stays together. That's to smooth out the aero profile to make it as slick as it can possibly be on these straightaways.
Yeah, Rob's been hard at work fine-tuning that car, building up for this event, and he set a very impressive lap in the second day of qualifying, which effectively was the first day of qualifying for this class, one of the few classes to have day 1 of qualifying affected by moisture, by some precipitation.
Day 1 of qualifying was just essentially overcast and cloudy, about 60 degrees all day until the Formula cars came out late in the afternoon, and this mist appeared. Only about 4 or 5 cars even bothered to take to the laps. Most of them didn't, so that cut them down a little bit. Another one of the drivers that really affected by that, going back to Veresens, is he ended up doing an engine swap during that session on Wednesday, so the only qualifying he got was Thursday, and that could be why he's back in 6th right now.
All right, so some fascinating stories to keep an eye on as we look at Rob Aller in that Martini-liveried Van Diemen chassis. He is your Tire Rack Pole Award winner. Beautiful-looking race car, and it's been fast as well. Starting on pole, he'll have Tim Miner, a local of sorts from Falls Church, Virginia, in the northern part of the state. He'll be alongside sharing row number 1. He'll be racing in that Citation chassis. Rick Payne and Joe Kawasako will be sharing row number 2. Rick making the tow all the way from Mission, British Columbia to be here. Took him 6 days. Keep in mind that means it's 6 days back home as well. He'll start 3rd. Kawasako will start in the 4th position from Greenwich, Connecticut. Glenn Cordova and Michael Veresens starting in row 3. Cordova driving a Van Diemen, as is Veresens, who is a 7-time champion in the Formula V class, but making the switch to FC for this year's runoffs. Alex Tollefson in the number 48 will start 8th. Andrew Dobby will start in 9th. And Mark Stern in 10th. Should mention, I think I missed Chuck Moran, who will start 7th in his Van Diemen. So that is your grid of 10 cars that will take to this 3.27-mile full course at Virginia International Raceway. This track has multiple configurations. This is the one that is legendary, and for good reason. It is a beautiful racetrack and challenging to boot.
Yeah, this track built back in the 50s is just a farmer's field, plowed, ran a racetrack through it, closed down then back in the 70s, reopened at the late 90s there, and it is just a gem. Beautiful track here up in the East Coast. Everyone willing to make the extra drive for this 3.2-mile circuit. And you'll see the long straightaways, as Hayward alluded to, trying to go maybe with the more simple single plane wings, and then also taping the bodywork there on Aller's car. That's because those straightaway speeds are going to mean everything to these little old Ford Z-Tech motors. They're going to need the old Pinto motors, and some of they're going to have to really stretch their legs going down the straightaways. Top speed is going to be at a premium.
Gap between first and second in qualifying. It was a 1 minute 51.2 second lap for Robert Aller. Tim Miner, on the other hand, a 152.9. So that is a 1.7 second difference over the course of their best laps in qualifying. That is a message sent to the rest of this field by Rob Aller, a former national champion, that he's going to be one to watch.
He is, but don't count Miner out too far back there. He's taken 10 starts in this field. His best finish was on the podium, third spot in Indy just a couple of years ago. So he's got the legs to try and maintain pace with Aller. And then, of course, right behind them with Payne and Colasacco. But you look at back there, Payne having a former winner. He comes in with a Daytona win in Formula Ford, Formula F. Colasacco won Spec Ford at Mid-Ohio about 14 years ago. So there's some names here that can make some ground up. It's not just going to be all about
And it is, to your point, an accomplished field. We have 4 former national champions amongst this group. Not all of them, in fact, most not in this class, but still a national championship pedigree that they bring to the table.
They do, and that really ups the game, and that means they can make adjustments as the cars change how they feel throughout the race. By the way, I can really see the stickers on the leading car there for Allers. Definitely going on the stickers for this race. But yeah, having the veterans in there means they can work their racecraft and their history. What's going to be interesting to watch is seeing someone like Michael Veresens and all those championships he has, and he's alongside Glenn Cordova, who's a runoff rookie.
Yes, 2 runoffs rookies in the field. Cordova is one, Andrew Dobby is the other. And talk about nerves. This season has built to this moment, everything culminating here at VIR. This is what it all comes down to, just 15 laps to ultimately dictate how you remember your season.
And I think what you got to think of, especially those rookies, is think, finish the first lap, finish the first corner, get to the second corner and let things play out in front of you. These are these highly strung mod cars that, you know, they're older, they're proven, but they can be delicate. They'll want to try and stay off the curbs, especially early. If they got to use them late. If you got to make them ground on somebody, but you got to, you know, to finish first, you must first finish.
And you saw it on that last shot. It was a good look at just how rough these curbs can be. Other classes straddling those curbs. Some of these corners now have that paved apron on the outside of the curbs. This class, you really got to be nice and careful. These cars, you got to get to the end.
Yeah, those gators, as they call them, those rumble strips on the exits of these curbs, like you alluded to, whether it's the Spec Miatas or the touring cars and things, they will climb all over those. They don't care. But you see these guys here, they're going to want to tuck inside of those, because if they get up on those gators, they'll start chewing away at the undersides of these cars. They could damage front nose pieces, which blows your aero completely apart, and then you get no trap speed, assuming the car even stays on the track.
This is a 17-turn circuit, and it has a little bit of everything. Lots of elevation change, some high-speed twisting sections, long straightaways, but also some tight and technical portions, heavy braking zones as well. Where do these cars excel?
They are going to be in those fast, the uphill S's especially. They're going to be screaming through those, again, trying to stay off of those curbs. This place is interesting. The uphills are more gradual. The downhills are abrupt. One of the downhills is just prior to the corner they're in now. It's South Bend, turn 10. It's this high-speed left-hander. It kind of drops away from them. They go through this shot here. This is actually where the oak tree used to be. They make this run down the back straight, which is, again, a gradual climb. And they get to the top of it, the aptly named roller coaster, when they get there, because a much more abrupt downhill where not a lot of mechanical grip, slow speeds, lowers the aero grip. These cars are going to have to really watch themselves as they make that turn in at the top of the hill.
Some absolutely iconic corners and sections of this track. Madison Avenue, Hog Pen, Oak Tree. Those names are so evocative, and it brings a smile to your face when you think about it. We've mentioned it a time or two before. This is the first time that VIR has played host to these runoffs, and it's a safe assumption, I think, that we'll be back at some point. This has been a hit.
I love a track that doesn't really care about corner numbers. It's about corner names here with NASCAR and Hog Pen. I mean, those are great names. South Bend, Oak Tree. Even the Oak Tree, the name's going to stick in the little saplings just off in the back. Now, hopefully in a couple years, we'll see that sapling Oak Tree growing a little big like Big Papa was.
definitely one of the more famous institutions of this track. We all mourn the loss of the classic oak tree that was there, but Son of Oak Tree is growing, and we will soon see it sprouting, and we'll soon see a champion crowned here as well at VIR. The field's starting to form into rows of 2. Rob Aller will start on pole, the Tire Rack Pole Award winner from Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan. Alongside him, Tim Miner from Falls Church, Virginia, trying to put that local track knowledge to use. Rick Payne and Joe Colasacco starting in row number 2. Row 3, Glenn Cordova and Michael Verisons, a rookie and a 7-time Formula V champion. Here we go. 10 cars ready to do battle for a national championship at VIR, the 56th annual SCCA Runoffs, and a green flag in the air. Big mover at the back of this field. Up front, it is Aller guarding the inside. Did he leave a little bit too much room? We've got a car sneaking down to the inside, and Aller's going to have to drop back at least for a moment. Now trying to answer back on the inside.
I think that was Payne.
Rob Payne indeed has snagged the lead in the opening corner.
Yeah, it's a gutsy move to go down the inside right there and make that stick. There's a better groove about midway in the track, but he found the inside and just enough. But Aller might be able to play the long game here. Looking in the back, I wanted to say that might have been Andrew Dobby that might have made that big move and a huge jump as they came across the stripe.
Aller didn't leave a whole lot of room there on the inside, as they caught a bit more curb there than I think we were expecting. I'm not sure he realized there was a full car width to the inside. It wasn't much more than that, just barely enough room there for Payne to be able to sneak by.
Yeah, the other interesting thing is they came across the stripe to take the green. Aller's tires still had the stickers on them, and I wonder if that hurt him a little bit under braking going into 1.
That's a good question. Aller already on the attack, though, poking his nose to the driver's left of Payne. Has to fall back in line here through Oak Tree. Miner now running in that 3rd spot as they thunder down Madison Avenue for the first time.
Yeah, so they should be doing a little bit of drafting, but they've got to really space out when they get to the end of this. The cars do have some aero. They probably want to use that a little bit, but he's going to use the draft because power is limited, and there he goes.
And we talked about, Hayward did especially, how much work has gone into making that car slippery in a straight line. Rob Aller pulls out of the draft and into the lead. Now a move there fighting for the 2nd spot as Miner tries to steal it back. Unable to do so. Right now, though, Aller back to the point. The pole sitter lost the lead initially, but looks like he's going to hold the lead when they come around to complete lap 1.
He will, and he saw there that Miner tried to stick his nose in there, but obviously knew that he had to back off a little bit, did not have the advantage. Check on that car, he's currently up to 4th.
And cars coming across the line for the first time. Here comes Miner poking the nose to the inside, entering the carousel, turn number 1. Cars twitching around as they go under heavy braking. Side by side, this is some heady stuff here. Open wheel race cars really have to respect one another through these sections of the track.
Yeah, that flat turn 2 there, that NASCAR corners they call it, it kind of resembles a little bit of turn 1 at Indy as they come around there in the low banking as they're just 2 side by side.
Looks like, unfortunately, Dobby was not able to come around, or has not yet, at least, to complete that lap. So that's unfortunate news. A field of 10 down to 9 now. As Aller led by half a second at the line, but it's a great battle for 2nd with Miner all over the back of Payne, the Canadian, trying to keep the Virginian behind him.
And I don't know they're going to really be working together too much. Again, this is not one of those draft races, around this whole place. This is get a run. If you have a chance to make a move, you make that move, because they don't want to let the leaders pull away, as Aller right now is really kind of pulling on the rest of this field. And you can see it in that shot, the gap he's already got.
And how about Colasacco able to sneak up amongst this group as well? He's running in the 4th spot in the red car with the green nose. It's going to be a 3-car fight over the 2nd spot. Here comes Miner now, trying to get past Payne. He's able to make that pass and secure the 2nd spot. Remember, that's where he qualified, right back into that position where he started now.
If you're going to pass on the left on that back straight, you've got to be fully ahead so you can get to your braking zone. If you're not, you have to give any position on the inside, even if the driver's on your rear quarter. You're going to have to give that up because there's just no way you can go too wide at the top of a roller coaster. This will be good racing between these two, and here's Colasacco.
Already on the attack, he sniffs a medal potentially as he's able to get to the inside of Payne, who had that great start to take the lead, but has dropped back since then. Big wiggle there from Payne. He's able to corral the race car. That took some driving, and Colasacco backed out of it a little bit. I think he might have seen a car sideways pointed right at him there for a split second.
Probably a good move. Payne is really making turn one interesting. He's gone through there 3 times, and every one of those 3 is a completely different move. He went deep on the inside on lap 1. He went down the middle. Now he's on the outside, wiggling the car. He's trying all the lines to find the best grip through 1.
Safe to say, just guessing here, but a Canadian probably doesn't have a ton of experience at this racetrack, coming all the way from BC. So he's learning as we go too.
Whereas Miner is the Virginian just from Falls Church, just a couple hours up the road here, but certainly I'm positive he's been here before, has seen this track, knows it a little better, whereas Payne's still working on it. But a great shot of them coming around South Bend. And that plummets downhill. It's hard to tell from that camera angle, but that bottom drops out as soon as you make that turn in.
The elevation change around this place is pretty dramatic. If you ever have a chance to get out here and see the track or hop in a car for a hot lap with someone, it is eye-opening. It really gives you a lot of appreciation for how fast and how precise you have to be around this place to get the kind of lap times that you need to be competitive.
Keep your eye on the number 65 Varys, as we talked about him in the onset. 7 Formula V championships. He switched to this car this year, didn't get a lot of seat time in these early sessions, but he's right on the tail of this group.
He's been patiently making his way up through the field, started back in 7th, made his way up to 5th with a pass of Cordova on the last lap. And right there we saw again another challenge from Colasacco trying to get by Payne. Couldn't do it there a moment ago. This might be his best chance. We know turn 1's been an adventure. He'd like to get this done before they even get there, if at all possible.
Payne's tried all the lines. He's made them all work. So whether he's on the inside or the outside, he's got either way. He's got it all covered. Just don't want to get on that dust. You can see it.
That dust, by the way, is some oil dry. That's been an area where we've seen a couple of cars lay down some oil over the course of the runoffs.
I just get the feeling that Varys is going to pounce between these two, as these two seem to be fighting each other, and then the rookie Cordova right behind them. I think both of them maybe watching what's happening between Colasacco and Payne.
For the uninitiated who are just tuning in for this race or don't have a lot of experience watching Formula V, where Varys comes from, how much different are these cars compared to what he's won 7 championships in?
Well, V was all about that strategy of draft and wait for your moment and then work with somebody and have a partner and play, and they run in these long lines and it's completely momentum. These are a little less about momentum, more about aero. He may be able to use some of the drafting skills in this race because of the long straightaways, put that to use, but at some point he's also got to be able to run by himself and just put down flyers.
Dropping back a little bit, that is Varyson's, and he drops a wheel off. Now all 4 wheels off the racetrack there. That's going to be costly.
A little deep as he came in on a break in there, and if he got on that outside and got into those gators, there's no grip on those, and it just jumps the car all the way to the dirt. Unfortunately, that momentum's gone. He's got to do all that work again to try and get anywhere back near Cordova.
This racing surface is as smooth as a countertop, but you get on those rumbles and it's a completely different story. Here we go. Let's take a look at the replay here of Varyson's and what happened to
Comes
him.
in, yep, just locked it up, got deep, and you can see him hitting those gators there, and just there's no grip. The car just kind of skips to the outside. He's very, very lucky to keep that car, and also car control skills to keep it from hitting that tire barrier and able to continue.
Getting word from our director, who happens to have some recent track experience. He was in the Spec Miata race, was Clark Camber. That particular corner evidently is very, very slick here today as we take a look in at another guy who knows this TV business pretty well, Rob Aller. Work with him on SRO America broadcast. He works with the Tampa Bay Lightning of the NHL,
Says
part of
here
their production
Grosse Pointe
team.
was Michigan, but I know that he also works out of Florida for those Tampa Bay Lightning games.
And
So this guy's all crisscrossing the country every weekend.
Spent a lot of his career working with the Red Wings and the Tigers. Did some preseason broadcast for the Lions as well. But a very fast race car driver, former national champion. He's been working hard on his craft. Has a former Indy 500 Rookie of the Year, Alex Barron, as his driver coach.
That's a great coach to have if you can have someone like that. But Aller actually cut his teeth at Waterford Hills up in Michigan, Southeast Michigan. Give a shout out to the folks there at that track. Great training ground. Not a big place. It's one of those tough to pass kind of places, but it's got a lot of corners that resemble other famous tracks that he's been able to use that and apply it to learning new places. Very skilled here as he's going to try and get that second gold medal this weekend.
He's been very quick. His last lap was a 1:53.007. That's just a little bit off of his best of the race, a 1:52.875. As we look at second place running Tim Miner, the Virginian, here on home soil. 3.5 seconds back, running pretty competitively. Gave up about 0.8 of a second that time, but the gap in qualifying was massive. So that actually shows some improvement and some pretty good pace out of this car and driver.
Miner starting to use a little bit more curbs. I think he maybe is feeling a little desperate that he's got to get the line down to try anything to try and catch Aller, but I don't think he does. I think he's got to really be worrying, make sure he doesn't leave anything, make a mistake for Kawasaki or Payne to catch up to him.
This is one of those situations where he's running by himself at the moment, doing his best to hang with Aller if he possibly can, but he's got to stay focused, stay concentrating. As Kawasaki, he was able to make the pass to get by Payne, but has not been able to pull away. Payne's been in the wars here in this race through 5 laps. He's probably been as busy as anyone.
He's making it interesting. He was a couple tenths further back, just picked up 3 more tenths. Now he's back right on Kawasaki's gearbox.
So this is the battle to keep an eye on. It's for the final podium spot. That's a meaningful spot as well. Everyone wants to bring home a medal from the runoffs. That's when you can show off to the friends and family and say, look, you know I'm a race car driver, but here's proof I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah, they are definitely well-coveted prizes if you can get one. And these two right now, if things go as they are, only one of these two can get one. That's why they're showing their desperation to make sure they have a souvenir to take home.
Have a sense from watching these two cars where their relative strengths and weaknesses are?
Well, I just watched Payne making a really nice ride coming off of the South Bend. Had some great grip down there, didn't lose it. Of course, there he hangs a tire, but he's I've seen a lot of cars do that. They can hold the momentum. My worry about these cars is, do you start damaging that under tray or that front nose piece and dropping a tire?
These cars are certainly reliant on their aerodynamics to be successful. Here comes Payne now, making a pop to the left. Makes his way by, clear by the braking zone. Nice
so he kept
move.
the momentum coming off of the oak tree, was able to continue that and make that pass, but I'm sure Kawasaki was going to be right behind him. I'm also watching for Aller. His lap times are dropping quickly. He's right on the verge. Previous lap record was a 152.2, which was held by Tim Miner, who's out there, but Aller right now just reset it at a 152.174. He's now quickest in all sectors and now has a new track record in Formula Continental.
That is faster than he qualified as well by a couple hundredths of a second. So he is flying. Here we go again, another adventure through the carousel for Payne. Slips a little bit wide. Kawasaki not able to capitalize here, but it seems like these two, whoever's out in front, they've got their mirrors full of the other, and oh, here we go. Payne off track.
Kawasaki giving him room to get back on. That's a good move. Didn't want to tangle the both of them up. It seems, I start to wonder if Payne doesn't have the downforce and the low-speed stuff. He's struggling in turn 1. He's a little bit at the top of the hill, and then you can see it there as they go through 3s. He just doesn't seem to have the same grip that Kawasaki might have, but he's obviously, you saw the pass he made down the back straight. Payne may have the straightaway speed, but just doesn't quite have it in the corners.
Slightly different nose design as well, and there's that downturn nose on Payne as we take a look at the replay.
Yeah, you can see him as he comes through NASCAR bend and just gets the car wide or across those gators, bumps, and all the way out to that dirt.
I noticed he caught the inside curb just a little bit as well. Might that shoot him a little bit
Easily
wide?
could send you out wide, absolutely, as that car upsets the car, kills the aero efficiency, and drives you to the outside. But I guess, like I said, he's got some good top speed. At this point, of course, Kawasaki's got a draft. But look at that front wing. There's barely anything vertical on it. The rear wing, barely anything. He's got that car trimmed tight. He really wants top speed.
That would explain his straightaway speed, but there's no shortage from Kawasaki either as he pokes the nose in. Can't make the pass and then has to check up. Loses a little bit of pace and a little bit of room as they head into the roller coaster.
Kawasaki should recognize that he's got the advantage in the sweepy stuff, and that maybe he should watch himself under braking there, because he kind of lost an opportunity. He wasn't able to stick with him, and now he's lost the momentum down roller coaster in hard pen.
And an interested spectator, not so far behind. That's Cordova, who's watching and waiting to pounce, right? And the more these two fight, the more opportunities he might have to get closer. Payne has a little bit of trouble there in turn 1, slips just a little bit wide. This battle raging here for the final step of the podium with 8 laps to go in the Formula Continental Championship race at VIR.
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Isn't it time you connected to something greater? Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect. This moment of escape was brought to you by Haggerty, for people who love cars.
Who's got the ponies? It will be Master again, and across the line. It's 3 in a row for Master Team Yost.
Rob Aller continues to lead by 8.7 seconds right now over Tim Minor in the Formula Continental race. Here at the SCCA Runoffs, live streaming coverage presented by Mazda. 7 laps to go. It's a dominant performance from our Tire Rack Pole Award winner, but this battle for third continues to rage. While we were away, Kawasaka was able to make the pass and get back by Payne, so he holds that final medal spot. Third place belonging to Kawasaka. Payne trying to find a way back by.
Interesting with this battle, as we mentioned, champions bringing their credentials from other classes. Kawasaka, a Spec 4 championship, Payne coming with a Formula 4 championship in the past. That means they're used to driving in tight quarters. Both of those classes are well known for their drafting and their waiting to the last lap, popping out. And that's really what they're doing. They're both just going together, lead, follow.
Here we go a little further back, and Michael Barrison's continuing his recovery. He was on the move early in this race, then had the off at Oak Tree, and has since been able to fight his way just on that last lap past Moran and up into the 6th spot, and now chasing down Cordova, looking for a top 5, and they are just wrangling these race cars, leaving absolutely nothing in between them and the dirt, and sometimes even straddling that line and getting into the dirt a bit.
Moran may have used a little bit more than the pavement that was available on that one by. The car just took a huge bounce. That's what I was saying about. You just cannot get out there. It upsets the car and runs the risk of cracking things. But he's just going to try and stick with Barrison's. Maybe have a shot if something happens up in front of him with the tight battles with Kawasaka and Payne. Cordova kind of in the middle, no man's land between the battle of 3-4 and the battle of 6-7. But you never know what could happen in that mix.
Right you are, so what it is, about a 9-second differential for Barrisons to try and overcome to run down Cordova, trying to get into the top 5. I gotta say, it's pretty amazing to see a guy stepping out of his comfort zone. 7 championships in that class, he owns it, and you wouldn't blame him for sticking around. He obviously had something special going there. Instead elects to challenge himself and finds a new challenge here in Formula Continental.
Right, and the V folks are known for lifers. There's a lot of folks that run those Vs just forever and stick around. Maybe, I've not talked to him, but my guess is he was looking for a new challenge sometimes when you do like that. And that's a tough class to win every year, but sometimes you look for that next challenge. These cars, these Continentals, are actually relatively easy. They're available, about $20,000. You can go pick one up. I know sometimes it sounds like a lot of money, but in terms of race car, that's not a lot, because those, at that point, they don't really devalue. You can pick them up, run them for 2 years, and sell them for pretty much the same price. And that might be what Barrisons was looking for, was the next challenge at a relatively low budget. Because again, these are not pros. These folks are amateurs. These are people with day jobs. And sometimes you spend what you got, you go racing with what you can afford. And Barrisons, obviously, there's a challenge here. Making that jump, maybe not as easy as he expected, but he's still working hard.
He's been pretty successful in U.S. Majors Tour competition. 6 starts, 4 wins. He's been on the podium in 4 as well. All of those podiums were wins, and also 4 poles. And then in the Hoosier Super Tour, had a couple of starts, including a top 5 result.
There,
yeah,
seemed to struggle there. Didn't get any wins in those Super Tours. So you start to wonder, is there, kind of a good days, bad days for him, and working with this car that's fresh to him. And that front wing is moving a little bit on that car.
Something to keep an eye on as we go along. This is Tim Minor once again running in the 2nd spot. I mentioned he was the track record holder coming into this race, so has that local track knowledge and was able to convert that into a front row start, and right now is in prime position, assuming everything stays the way it is, which never happens in motorsports, but with 5 laps to go, he's in a really good spot to take home a medal.
Yeah, he's just trying to hit his marks, just play his game. You know, maybe hope that Aller at the front has something happen. He's obviously been here before, track record holder coming in. And at this point, you know, he knows the place. Just got to be inch perfect to just do your thing.
He's not just a VIR ringer either. He has made 10 previous runoff starts. His best finish was 3rd at Indianapolis in 2017. So he's an accomplished racer on the runoff stage in this class as well. And then you throw in the fact that this is home turf. That just adds to what has been a recipe for success.
Yeah, and you can see him coming off of the Oak Tree turn there, not getting wide like we saw Verisons and the other drivers doing. He's at this point just in protect mode. He knows he's got a gap behind. He's got one in front. It's just bring home the silver if you can.
And even in protect mode, he's been able to leg out an advantage. And oh no, that is the leader, Rob Aller. Smoke coming out. That's a brand new motor in that car. And it looks like it has given up the ghost with less than 5 laps to go and a 12-second lead. That has to be heartbreaking.
Absolutely heartbreaking. But that's what Miner had been doing, was just to stay within your game in case something happens. These are mod cars. Things do happen, and unfortunately for Aller, this is it's a tough way to end your runoffs.
And now you know why Tim Miner was in conserve mode. A, because that can happen to anyone, and B, now he finds himself in a position to benefit, leading by a healthy margin.
Yeah, he's now got himself about a 10-second gap or so
9.6
to that Colasacco Payne battle behind him, and he's just hoping those two guys continue.
Here's a look at what happened to Rob Aller. You
It's
see
one
the
of the-
little
yeah.
puff of smoke.
As soon as you shut that throttle at the end of a straightaway, that's when it lets go. He realizes it. Hope there's no fluids down, because that is coming down roller coaster. Don't see anything coming out of the back of there.
And if you're wondering why he made that abrupt dive off track, that's why, if just in case there is any fluid coming out of that car, he doesn't want to leave it on the track. That's definitely heartbreaking for Rob and his team, his crew, his family as well, which elected to make the trip out here to watch him race. And for 10 laps, it was perfection. What he might be doing here
is protecting the grass underneath. As we've seen
Exactly.
this dry grass, there has not been, other than that little drizzle when these guys were qualifying on Tuesday, there has been no rain here for probably 2 weeks. And this grass is just dry as a bone. We've seen a couple times cars go off and light fires underneath. He's trying to make sure his race car gets back on the trailer.
Tim Miner now leading this race, 9.6 seconds the last time around, and now that battle between Colasacco and Payne becomes the battle for second, not the battle just to make it onto the podium. Cordova waiting 5 seconds back. Verisons has not been able to make inroads, surprisingly, at least to me, on Cordova. That gap has grown now up to just over 10 seconds.
It has, and again, he did that motor swap earlier in this week. I don't believe that was a new motor that he was putting in as far as fresh new. I think there was an old motor putting in, and that may be a part of this. Just doesn't quite have his best equipment underneath him. And then with behind him, Moran just trying to maintain pace there.
And you said you were there. You saw that motor swap happening.
I did, and he was not happy about it. In fact, he even stripped out one of the bolts he was using, had to get out the old helicoil kit, which is never a good sign. It's sort of like kicking a man when he's down at that point. So the fact that he was able to get it together and get out here, qualify Thursday, and get us our race here on Saturday a couple days later is a feat in itself. When you own a mod car, it's mod car things is typically how it goes.
Well, these two have been entertaining us all race long with 3 laps to go. That's not changing anytime soon. Colasacco running second. He's got Payne right behind him. So, again, Colasacco in the red car with the green nose. Payne right behind his chassis, primarily black with some yellow as well.
He's going to be using more curves now as he starts to get a little bit more risk in trying to get the reward, trying to find a place to get by. As I said, I don't think he's got the downforce as much as Colasacco does. I think he's a little bit more trimmed for speed. See him coming off there. Both of them right out by that edge as they come down that hill through South Bend and set up to come around the Oak Tree.
It's been amazing to watch these two cars. They're so evenly matched. The driving is even as well. Right now, Colasacco has the advantage, but neither driver has been able to keep it for more than a handful of laps at a time.
And this usually is where Payne starts to pull with that higher top speed with those wings. Although I don't know that he was quite close enough to make a move this time by. He's going to have about 2 more chances if he wants to try and grab a silver instead of the bronze.
He's had plenty of time to assess his competition, try and find the weaknesses, and the same is true the other way around. They've been buying one another the whole race.
Well, early in the race, we talked about Payne. He had made that really bold move going in on the inside of Aller into the turn 1. He's been all over turn 1. He has top speed straight away, and 1 should be the best passing place. He's going to get 1 shot here, 1 shot on the next time by if he's going to try and make a move and make it stick.
Taking a peek to the inside into turn 1. This has been an adventure zone for him. As
It's
that
Verresens.
happens, Verresens with another off. You're right. That's from the 5th spot. He wasn't ahead of Moran by much as the battle for second rages. How about that move? And can't keep it on track, just shoved it down the inside.
And we've seen him do that twice where he had that advantage, but he got himself deep. What a bold move to do, trying up and under, and now he's off.
He caught the curb big time, and that's
Yeah.
a hard impact into the tire barrier. Just leaving it all on the line, and there's just not much margin for error in this part of the racetrack,
Very
especially
technical
when
part
you
of the
catch a
track
curve.
there. Yeah, you go around 3 and you make a move like that, it pushes you wide, and there's just nowhere to get it back. It's a one-line track as you go through the left hand and then into the snake, and that right-hander starting those lower S's. And he just, you miss your timing a little bit. With one of these cars, you lose the arrow, and on the outside you go. And at that point, it's downhill. In this grass, you just slide forever. But out of the car, he's fine. Well, physically, but I'm sure a little bit dejected knowing that there was a chance there for a bronze.
So that elevates Cordova up into the 3rd position now. Just a nice, solid, quiet run for him. And it is the first runoffs appearance for Glenn. So if he can finish on the podium, I think he'd be pretty darn happy with that result.
So here we have currently in the 1st and 3rd spots 2 guys that essentially were just managing their own little race by themselves for the last about 12 laps, and the race is coming to them.
It's true of Minor to some degree as well. He took the fight to Rob Aller off the top, takes the white flag there, recognized that maybe didn't have the ultimate pace, so made sure he had a car under him in case something should happen. He'd be prepared to take advantage of it, and has done just that. Colasacco can now breathe a sigh of relief. Finally, that battle he'd been stuck in the whole race has resolved itself.
Yeah, he was pushed and pushed hard as Payne was just all over the track. But unfortunately for Payne, not able to keep it on for 2 more laps. Really entertaining and all. Clean racing all around as both of them, we mentioned that Colasacco was letting Payne, even if he had gone off, get back in front of them. The 2 of them swapped positions a couple times, but right now it's Colasacco sitting in that silver seat.
Moran will jump up to 4th. Verresens, I think, has recovered to come through, and if that's the case, no, he actually has lost a couple of other spots. So Alex Tollefson has been able to come through. He's in the final position in the top 5, running 5th.
For Tollefson, I think this is just his 2nd runoff starts. So we've got a rookie up there on the podium right now. If this finishes this way, Tollefson sitting in 5th is just getting a 2nd start.
And it would be a career best runoffs finish for Tollefson. Finished 6th at Indianapolis. But up front, taking a look here at Tim Minor in search of his first runoffs win. Does have that 1 podium finish a couple of years ago at Indianapolis. Trying to do that 2 better with a victory at VIR.
Finish on the podium at 2 legendary tracks like Indy and VIR. What a resume that has.
You've done something right at that point. And a little extra special, perhaps, to bring home the championship here in Virginia at VIR, the native of Virginia. Tim Minor coming around Hog Pen for the final time down the front straightaway. 1 fist in the air, the checkered flag flies, and our national champion in 2019 is Tim Minor.
Great run. He didn't quite have the pace to keep up with Aller, but he had enough pace to stay clean, stay by himself, and coming up with a gold medal.
Joe Colasacco wraps up a successful run. Boy, he was in the thick of things. I think he'll enjoy that result. And here we go. Final podium spot goes to Cordova in his first runoffs appearance. He's on the podium.
Gotta be
well
thrilled.
done, no doubt. I think we're going to have 3 happy guys on the podium. That's not always the case, but
You know, yeah, right. As Hayward has said before, sometimes the guy in second's disappointed. I don't think that either Colasacco or Cordova, or certainly not Minor, I don't think anyone's disappointed here. They're going to be thrilled to be where they are. But great drive from Minor right here at this track where he comes in, had the track record. Track record now belongs to Aller, but he's got the one that counts. That's that gold medal.
you had to feel for Rob Aller, who seemed to have it all put together in this race, was running great, had a lead of over 12 seconds, only to have what appeared to be an engine let go.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's sad. It's heartbreaking, but that's part of motor racing. That's why we run the races. That's why they are the full length that they are, because sometimes attrition comes in, and you know, sometimes you're Minor and sometimes you're Aller. We've had both. Everybody's been there at both ends, and unfortunately for Rob, not his day.
It certainly was not, but the day belongs to Tim Minor, a champion at VIR. Anxious to hear his thoughts on that race, what he thought when he saw the stranded car of Rob Aller off to the side and recognized that the lead of the SCCA runoffs was in his hands with under 5 to go.
Because he was so far back, he was probably just coming off Oak Tree when Aller went up and over the hill, didn't even see it. And it wasn't probably, like you said, until he came down where they shot his now and off to driver's right there is where the car was, unless he's got radio contact letting him know, you know, to come up on that and say, wait a second, that was the leader that just did that. And you see him waving to the corner of the flaggers there. What a great F&C group that we've got out here. I've heard there's 600 volunteers out here at VIR this weekend and 600 drivers. So we are 1-to-1, 1,200 happy family here. It's been a great week.
It takes an army to put on an event like this, and it goes so far beyond the drivers, who obviously are a big part of it, the club members, but their friends and family and teams that support them. We've got all the volunteers, the corner workers, the officials. There's just a whole bunch that goes into the SCCA runoffs. That's what makes it the amazing event that it is. And to see the pure, unadulterated joy on the face of the champions is one of the great pleasures for those of us in this position. Hayward Wagner is in the enviable position of being down on pit lane and soaking it in firsthand. As soon as the helmet of Tim Minor is off, we will hear from our champion, who better not get out of that car too far, because he's got a victory lap that he still has to complete.
Yeah, he's lucky enough to get that one extra lap, the 16th lap, the one everybody wants. He's shaking a little bit, trying to find that helmet strap.
Now he's got the helmet off now. The medal is about to go around the neck of Tim Minor. He is our national champion, and Hayward is there to talk to him.
Tim Minor, you never had a doubt on this one, did you? Knew from the beginning, right?
Hey, you never stop, man. Never stop. I mean, it's just, Rob was really good. I couldn't keep his pace, but I paced with him. Look, I've been there. You know, I've been in the situation he's in. He had a great car. Those guys are great competitors, but guess what? Who's your tire? Tim Minor is standing. This is the runoffs, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just got to make sure. You know, I can't thank the people that, you know, that helped me enough. Quicksilver Race Engines, PFC Brakes, the Bungalow Lake House. I mean, the people, Eric Langbine. I mean, what a fantastic year, man. The best crew chief you could ever want, Tim Dreedy.
He's reminding you to thank your wife.
My wife is the most lovely person in the world. She puts up with this for a long, long time. I can't wait to see her and give her a big hug.
Well, congratulations to you. You got to get back in that car. There's one more lap.
I'm going to do it.
Oh, I loved everything about that interview. That was fantastic. It is real, Tim. Congratulations. You've done it. You've won at the SCCA National Championship runoffs. His first national championship, and there is Rob Aller, just trying to wonder what might have been. Tim Minor, your champion, by 14 seconds over Joe Colasacco, Glenn Cordova, rounding out the podium, finishing in third. Chuck Moran and Alex Tollefson finishing fifth. Mark Stern, Rick Payne has to settle for seventh. He was fighting for a podium much of that race. Michael Verison's, evidently that off-track excursion was more terminal than we thought, because he finishes 2 laps down, and Aller and Dobby completing the running order. Let's get back down to Hayward.
Guys, you speculated up in the booth that everybody would be smiles in victory lane this time. There would be no letdowns. That's exactly what I saw. Visors came in open, big smiles. Joe, tell me about your race.
That was interesting. Actually, I watched the leaders take off, and there was nothing really I had for them. So they just took off, and I was just battling for the last spot on the podium. And then
you were battling for the second spot.
that's right. My crew came on the radio and said, I saw a black car off. I wasn't sure if it was the leader. And then I said, yeah, you're in P2. So then he called me back up, passed me again. There's a couple of bonsai moves he tried, but they didn't stick, so I'm glad. I'm just happy. It was a tough week. Last couple of weeks, the car's been giving us a lot of trouble. And my crew, Ed, who's been, working up, he's been working late every night, and he's gotten no sleep. And the help of the third-place driver here, who's also my crew, decided to drive this weekend, and that's Glenn.
So, Glenn, I understand not only are we driving this weekend, we're celebrating a birthday. Is that correct?
50th birthday.
How was your race?
It was fantastic. I mean, I finished. I got on the podium, luckily, and yeah, everything's good. No complaints.
So all smiles here in Formula Continental.
As predicted, and a very happy birthday to you, Glenn, from all of us. Congratulations to all three of our podium finishers, and a special congratulations to Tim Minor, a well-deserved champion.
Absolutely. He knew this track coming in. Like we said, he had the track record before, puts that to good use, hits those marks, and takes the win.
So let's look at some of the race highlights. There are plenty to choose from. This was the start. How about this move to the inside from Payne? There was one Formula Continental whip, and he used it. He went for that spot.
Yep, and Aller let him have a little bit of that, but he was fast, and Aller just kind of checked off into the distance. Verissens here had a lot of trouble in the back, unfortunately for him. I suspect we'll see him in the future, though. And Aller, just a sad day when you all of a sudden hit the brakes and you hear that engine pop, hit the gas, there's nothing there, and nothing you can do.
Ultimately, that's where the race was decided. Rob Aller at the time had a lead over 10 seconds. It promoted Tim Minor to the front. Here we have another off
That was the
from
Verissens,
Verissens,
yep.
the second
Coming around
one.
Hog Pen.
And ultimately, I don't think we saw him back on track after that. Here's that great scrap that we were talking about for second place after Aller's misfortune.
Caught that inside curb, sent him to the outside. Did it again later, and then unfortunately here ends up at the tire barrier. He's fine, hopped out, but I'm sure he's a little bit dejected, knowing what could have been.
Especially after the long drive from British Columbia. Colasacco right there crossing the line. Tim Minor, though, is your champion on the victory lap. Congratulations to Tim Minor, Formula Continental champion.
I probably need new tires.
You do.
What if they sold tires online?
We do. We're TireRack.com.
They could offer lots of tires
We have so many tires.
and help you find the right tire.
It's called the Tire Decision Guide.
Oh, and they could ship them to a nearby mechanic.
We shipped over 7,000 independent recommended installers.
This is an amazing idea.
Sorry. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.